begins.
I'm Lainey.
And I'm Laura Beth.
And we are Steel Magnolias.
Two sisters who love family, traditions, and all things Southern.
We've got plenty of room at our table, so pull up a chair.
Hey, Lainey.
Hi, Laura Beth.
It's Derby Week, or we think it is at the time of this recording.
Right.
It's Derby Week, right?
Well, yeah, and it's just strange because that's always the first Saturday of May. So, I don't know. It just feels odd.
So happy Labor Day.
So odd, but I'm just glad it's happening because it's such an old tradition that we can't not have it.
Yeah. Well, and to those of you that had tickets that you're not getting to use your ticket because they've scaled back so much, maybe you had general admission infield tickets or some other ticket in that is not going to be able to be used this year. I'm so sorry.
Yes. I was thinking, this is a dream for me to get to go and dress up and have a seat.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, thank goodness I didn't have plans to go this year. And I'm like, or would that be glorious that you don't have
That's true.
as many people?
You're getting the VIP experience, but you're supposed to wear a mask if you're moving about.
Oh, this is going to be so awesome to see what we see. There's going to be gingham mask. There's going to be monogrammed mask.
Yeah.
There's going to be all things Southern in the masking.
Well,
I've already seen one that is got a hole. It has a flap and a hole for your straw.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to, for some reason, I thought you were going to say cigar. How awful would that be?
Hysterical. But that Prim and Brim that's in Bowling Green that has all the hats, and they have it online. Look them up if you would like to get a mask that has a straw hole. For the Derby or any other time.
Never thought we would say on this podcast. Well, the Kentucky Derby's the longest continually held major sporting event in the U.S. history.
I mean, that's amazing. This is going to be 146.
Yeah. And normally they teeter around crowds of like 170,000, somewhere in that range. So this year they are not having any more than 23,000 guests expected. That is a big cut.
It's a huge cut. And I keep thinking about in all of these things just how that trickles down in the economy. The guy that's grilling ribs out in his yard, parking cars, and he always makes a chunk of change.
Yeah.
Is not going to get to do that this year. Anyway.
Love that example. Well,
that's just getting real.
We used this glorious sporting event to dictate our topic this week.
Matter.
And so we are here with a mint julep in hand that Lainey made that is on point.
Y'all, I'm not always an on point bartender, but I have to say I'm so impressed with myself.
I would say more times than not you're on point.
Well, I sometimes have to dapple a little.
Yeah.
But this
you
is
experiment
in the top 2 mint juleps I think I've ever had.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good. So anyway, it's a simple cocktail, but it is, some think, the most recognizable Southern cocktail of all.
Yeah. And we've got, 10 cocktails we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
So we wanted to lead with this one.
Well, yes. Cheers to the Derby.
Cheers.
Let's talk the mint julep. So this is a obviously bourbon-based cocktail. Mm-hmm. Hence why it's so popular at the Derby. You're in the middle of horse and bourbon country if you're in the Derby. But it's very simple. It's got simple syrup and fresh mint and a lot of crushed ice.
Yes.
And that's key.
So
and I think
important.
that's even probably why it got so popular, because it has to be bourbon-based and it has to be cold because you're so hot.
Yeah,
when
a
you're
lot
out
of
at
times
the Derby.
don't people chill their cup?
Yes, and you've probably seen, I don't actually own the mint julep cup. It's like sterling silver, real pretty.
So gorgeous.
We're drinking ours just out of an old-fashioned glass. But you want this drink really, really cold. And you muddle your mint leaves, which, that's an art in and of itself. You don't want it to be like floppy crushed, but you got to get that juice flowing.
So, yeah, I want to talk about muddling just for a second.
Sure.
Because it is important. It's a technique used to gently mash your herbs or sometimes a fruit just to get those juices flowing, waken it up. But you have to have a muddler.
That's true.
And if you don't, you can do it with a wooden spoon, but a muddler is a very good tool to have on hand.
Yeah, so it's got a rough, flat surface that will kind of poke holes, if you will.
Yeah.
Just gently in your herb.
Yeah.
But you want to use a lot
Yes.
in a mint julep.
Yes.
Laura Beth watched me make this. I put quite a few leaves in there.
You did.
I may have put, just to make 2, I think I had at least 20 leaves in there.
I think you did too. Yep.
Muddled it up just a little bit. And then added my simple syrup and bourbon and a lot of crushed ice. Then I just shook it up, poured it in the glass. Now, one little trick, I love the flavor of mint. Some people don't,
I do.
If you want it less on the mint side, you're going to muddle it less.
Sure.
But I like a lot of mint flavor. So I even put the muddled mint at the bottom of the glass and put a straw with it right next to the mint. And I think it pulls more mint flavor when you do that. But you always want to garnish it with just a sprig, not even breaking them off
Right.
Just put the sprig in there, and it looks so pretty.
It's so pretty. You
summery.
did so good.
But when I was first hearing of a mint julep, for some reason I pictured it was going to be a cocktail that had like creme de menthe in it, like something creamy,
milky.
minty.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think I did too.
That's more like something else that's a southern drink called a grasshopper that came out of New Orleans. But this is strictly bourbon, simple syrup, and fresh mint.
Yeah.
So it really does have a sweet bourbon flavor.
Well, typically on Kentucky Derby Day at Churchill Downs, they would serve about 120,000 of these.
Unreal. There's even a fundraiser that happens at the Derby every year where they make them with this Woodford Reserve, and I think it's $1,000 a drink or something, and it's for
gold-plated glass with silver straw
for fundraising purposes. But anyhow, it is definitely the signature cocktail. In fact, Churchill Downs, since 1938, I think they've called this their official cocktail. And they have collectible Kentucky Derby glasses that you can get, the whole 9 yards. And one thing I wanted to mention while we talked this famous cocktail is the U.S. Senator Henry Clay of Kentucky introduced this drink to Washington, D.C. when he went there at the Round Robin Bar in the famous Willard Hotel. So 2 years ago, I got an opportunity to go to an amazing event with a friend of mine who's a descendant of a president. So we actually got to go to the White House, and I got to meet a lot of really it was an unreal experience. But I got to stay in her room at the Willard Hotel.
Yeah.
And so I got to have a couple of cocktails in the Round Robin Bar, and I didn't know this story.
Okay.
And so when I got there, and it's a beautiful bar, it literally is round.
I bet.
There's been a lot of, deals made in the Round Robin Bar because it's literally right by the White House.
I would say daily they're seeing deals.
Exactly.
Yes.
But their signature cocktail is the mint julep, and I was going, what?
So you saw that somewhere?
Yes.
Oh,
and
my
then it
gosh.
tells the story of how that became their signature
drink.
cocktail.
Wow.
But it kind of surprised me because it's not like that's the Deep South or something.
No.
Where, I just was kind of surprised.
That is funny.
But I guess it's not just a thing in
that makes
Kentucky.
That makes sense to me that it would be there as well, because this came out of about the late 1700s, and it was only the elite that were consuming this because not everyone had access to ice.
True. I see the things we forget.
Nor the silver.
For sure.
I mean, we've already said we don't have silver cups today. We do have ice. Thank you, Lord.
Ice, yes.
But yeah, so that eliminated so many people. Just not forget access to bourbon, just the ice and the
silver.
Wow. So it stayed kind of an elite drink for a long time, and kind of still is, in my opinion.
That's true. You think of, the she seersucker suit guy and the girl in her Sunday best.
I mean, can you imagine ordering a mint julep at just a regular old bar?
Like a...
that doesn't have
kind of a
some
dive
sort
bar.
Of wood, pretty wood inside. Yeah.
So funny.
Anyway, okay, let's
Well,
move
nothing
on.
says wraparound porch like a mint julep, does it? Or a sweet tea, I guess.
Yes.
Those two things. Well, yes. Cheers. Enjoy your
It's
sipping
so good.
over
Thank
there,
you.
sister.
Thank you. Hey, I just had an idea. We should do sort of a pantry list for our Patreon community.
Ooh, you mean like what to keep on hand?
Yes.
All the time?
Like your staples.
How to set your bar, not the liquor part, but like the extras.
Yeah, like your
Okay.
tonic waters and your...
I
I'm
love
not going to give
it.
away too much, but
That's a great idea.
We'll do a post this week and just have a little pantry list. Maybe even for mocktails as well. Like these are just good things to have on hand.
Well, mine would be the same. Like,
Okay.
because all you're going to do is maybe either add in a non-alcoholic
addition. Okay.
or just use these things.
Cool.
Love it.
Okay, we'll
Great
do
idea.
that. Okay, we got several more to showcase today. Let's talk about the Sazerac.
Okay.
It is it consists of rye whiskey, bitters, and absinthe originally.
Yes.
This comes out of New Orleans. So in the early 1800s, the Sazerac was originally made with, I think it was made with cognac.
I believe you're right. That's correct.
And Pichot.
That's
Am I saying it right?
I had to look it up. But
Pichot's bitters, because that was the guy's name who created it. And so he named the drink for his favorite brand of cognac. And by 1870, cognac was harder to come by. So rye whiskey was the substitution.
Insert rye whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Now, I've heard some claim that this is the oldest known American cocktail.
That makes sense too.
With origins in pre-Civil War New Orleans, though that's disputed.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. In fact, as I was doing research on this episode, this name kept coming up. David Wondrich, who's a drink historian. I'm like, how do you get that job? Drink historian.
You would be really good at
I
that
would
if
be
you
so
want to
good.
switch careers.
I just thought that was funny. I'm like, drink historian. So he actually disputes that it's the oldest, but
What does he say is, you think?
it did
'Cause
not say that.
Mint
so-
Julep is saying that they're older. They're saying late 1700s.
Okay.
So,
well, we'll go with that. I
knows?
didn't ask. I didn't see what. But this drink, the Sazerac, became the Louisiana's official state cocktail
yes.
in just as late as 2008.
Okay.
Anyhow,
Well, I did find a good full backstory that I might link to in our show notes on
About
the
this
Sazerac.
one?
Yeah.
well, I have to say, I am not a big fan of absinthe
Yeah.
or that flavor,
Yeah.
like that
It's just so
licorice
strong.
anise
Yeah.
flavor.
Yes.
Which is what Herb Saint goes
Yeah.
in.
Yes.
If you can't get absinthe, which I think it's easier to get now. That's a whole nother story we could go into.
Absinthe in the ban that
Yes.
happened.
They
Yeah.
thought it was like, causing people to hallucinate and
Right.
all this kind of stuff. So anyway, that could be its own episode. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that flavor. So Sazerac isn't my thing.
Yeah.
But
Well, you can actually buy Pichot's bitters on Amazon.
okay.
And they're only $15.
Okay.
And so that would be a nice way for you to try and sort of get this
And it's
taste.
actually in quite a few cocktails.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not like you're only stuck to making this one.
Yeah. But it's, like you were saying, it's definitely licorice, kind of that woodsy,
Herby.
yeah, maybe even like a saffron kind of caramel, all those sorts of
Flavors.
flavor profiles.
And I usually do like to experiment with things like that, but I don't know. This one's not my favorite.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we have to mention it because we kind of have two categories in our list today. We have bourbon or New Orleans.
bourbon-based or New Orleans,
Yeah.
or in this case, that one falls in both.
Both.
Well,
Yeah.
it's rye whiskey,
Yeah.
but still.
So, speaking of bourbon, we do need to mention the old fashioned. which
one of my favorites.
I feel like the old fashioned gets a mention about every third episode, right?
I just love that drink.
So easy to make, super easy. I usually make it by I have a pack of sugar cubes.
Okay.
So I usually just
put your bitters on that cube.
Put my bitters on there, kind of crunch it down or muddle it a little. I don't actually have a muddler. You would crack up if you saw what I use to muddle. It's some sort of piece that goes on like my mixer. It works.
I can see that. Or if you have a mortar and pestle, some people will use the pestle of that.
Yeah, that would totally work. But yeah, just some bourbon that you like, the sugar cube, an orange twist, and then some bitters.
Yeah, I'm such a fan of cherry that I like.
You like
that
the cherry? Yeah.
Kind of flavor in there. But, supposedly this came from Louisville. Mm-hmm. A club called the Pendennis Club.
Okay.
Supposedly is where this started. And I think it was a pretty shishi club.
Okay.
And anyway.
Okay.
I think that's where this drink was birthed. But it's definitely worldwide now. I mean, that's not a Southern thing.
It's not. I feel like it has taken on the martini that had like
the Manhattan.
Like as popular as Manhattans and martinis were in like 90s, early 2000s.
Yes.
I feel like the old fashioned has wiped those out.
Well, and bourbon has gotten more popular in general.
Yeah.
So then that's going to make bourbon-based cocktails more popular too.
It's true.
So yay for the old fashioned.
Again, ice is important. So
and totally different.
Totally different.
Mint julep we're having.
You do not want a bunch of crushed ice in an old fashioned. You want a big cube if you can have like one singular large square, circle, whatever.
Yeah, that's not going to dilute your yummy bourbon. You want it to just slowly melt. Yeah. So that's why that's so key. Who knew? When I was in college and you just mixed whatever you had, I didn't know the ice mattered at all.
So speaking of college, number 4 on my list is
I love this.
The most basic of cocktails. So hopefully we haven't lost you if you're going. I don't know what a bitter is, and I don't plan to buy one. I've got your cocktail ready for you. Enter the Jack and Coke. Okay. 2 ingredients.
Did not even have this on my list.
You didn't?
No, but it's got to be Southern.
It's considered a cocktail, I would think.
Well, yeah.
2 ingredients.
Or a mixer.
Both Southern. Definitely on the list.
Lord, so both those products made right here in the South.
Yeah. So I have seen, try and do about 1 part Jack Daniels to 3 to 5 parts Coke, but I think most people just sip and taste to get it to whatever strength that you want it.
Now, we had a funny story this week. We had a meal with a friend who we got talking bourbon, and he started sharing about the one time he found at a gas station a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle. 24, mind you. I don't remember what he said he paid for it.
$70.
That's unreal.
But I don't remember how many years ago.
This was a while back. Anyhow, he did say he was headed to his brother's hunt camp, and they haven't had that for 20 years, so it's not that long ago.
Okay.
Anyway, he opens the bottle to share with his friends, which is what you do. We've talked about that before.
And a customer that he was there to visit.
Yes. Before he could stop him, had poured, I think he was showing us, what would you say that is, about 3 to 4 inches?
Yeah.
In the glass already of that 24-year Pappy, and then proceeded to pour Diet Coke all over it.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even stop it from happening. So
anyone that knows bourbon is cringing right now.
Don't use that in your jacket.
If you don't, I'll give you some perspective. This friend of ours said that bottle today would be worth $10,000.
That sounds high to me, personally.
Yes.
But I definitely think you'd be knocking on 2 to 10. Like, you are in the thousands.
Yeah.
For
so
sure.
imagine putting,
you can't even find
let's
one
say
now.
$2,000 bottle.
Don't
just
put your Coke in it. Or your Diet Coke in it. Please, please, please.
Okay, Jack and Coke.
All right, so number 5. I just found this kind of funny. There is a cocktail called the Seelbach. And it's also from Louisville because it's bourbon-based. So they're, high on the...
Yes,
they're using their bourbons over there.
They're going to use their resources well.
This one is bourbon, orange liqueur, Angostura bitters, Peychaud bitters.
Yes.
I'm still trying to make sure I pronounce it right. And sparkling wine or champagne.
Oh.
So...
I love sparkling.
They say it's kind of a mashup of a Manhattan and a champagne cocktail. So this is what I found so funny about this. The story goes that this cocktail was really old, from this Seelbach Hotel in Louisville. That's where the name came from. Okay. But this bartender shared this story that that it was pre-prohibition, and he found the recipe when he became the bartender there in some place in the hotel. It became really popular, not just in Louisville, but like other places. People wanted the Seelbach. And he later said that he totally made the story up. So it really wasn't birthed until 1990s.
Oh my gosh.
He just wanted it because the hotel has such a great history. He thought that there should be a cocktail to go with it.
Wow.
So he totally made the story up. But the hotel is in The Great Gatsby. It's where like the wedding took place. It's so strange. I just rewatched the old Great Gatsby.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's so beautiful.
That's fun.
So anyway, I got tickled that he had this whole story going about this, because it seems like there should be a great cocktail that goes with a great hotel.
I agree.
So anyway, the Seelbach, it's not that
I want to try that. I haven't had that before. But I also feel like we should.
Yeah, you like drinks that have the champagne fizz.
I love it.
Yeah.
I would like that a lot. When anything that's topped with sparkling, when I look through menus, if I see that, I order it. We should discuss bitters just for a second, though, because we've mentioned
them a lot
on previous episodes, and we've never really gone into it. And since we're talking cocktails, we really need to. Bitters are slightly confusing in their name, because, I mean, in my mind, that makes you think that they're bitter, and that's not necessarily true. They are flavoring agents. They're used, a lot of times in cocktails. I think their original purpose was for medicinal reasons.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have heard that. Like they were made in apothecaries.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So most bitters are made by steeping botanicals in a high-proof alcohol, like an Everclear or a whiskey, for a variable amount of time.
Okay.
There are 3 that I would probably say are the most popular used in cocktails. This Pichot that we've mentioned, which has the licorice sort of flavor, and that's used in the Sazerac, as we mentioned.
Angostura.
Theirs is kind of known, and I don't understand why they do this. They always have an oversized label.
I don't know what that is either. And I always buy the orange version. Okay. They're orange bitters. I love their orange bitters. But
so that would be found like in your old fashioned. And then let's see. What is the other one? I thought I had 3.
There's so many now.
Well, too. I guess orange bitters would be considered its own. Yeah, okay. that would be the 3rd.
Okay.
So, yeah, those would be clear orange-hued citrus bitters that are a lot lighter than the other 2 I just mentioned.
But you can find cherry bitters, walnut bitters, lavender bitters. I mean, it's endless, the different directions you can go. I don't think any of us can stock them all in our home. But
they do add a nice flavor to a cocktail.
It gives it like depth or something. Yeah. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like, you know how you have like what hits your tongue first and later? It does add depth to that.
And I think it helps because a lot of times what hits your tongue first
is alcohol.
Stings and hurts. So I think it helps soften.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I just wanted to mention
I'm glad
bitters.
You mentioned that because sometimes you just assume that, and that's not, I don't even understand all of that. Yeah. So that's great.
Okay, let's see. We are at number 6.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about a Bloody Mary. Now, I don't have proof that this is Southern.
Yeah.
I'm calling this Southern because it is tomato-based and has Tabasco sauce in it.
That's fair. I didn't think of this as Southern, but yeah, that's totally fair.
And in my mind, Bloody Marys are reserved for
hangovers.
Well, I was going to say airplane rides and brunches.
Yeah, I think brunches, but I also think you think about people. I don't like them personally. I don't love tomato juice.
Yeah.
So this is never going to be my drink of choice. I'm going mimosa if I'm at brunch.
Me too.
But
this is, I wanted to mention it too because it's vodka based and we had so much that was bourbon based that I wanted to bring in something else. So this would be vodka, tomato juice, lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, Tabasco sauce, salt and pepper, and then oftentimes people will stick a celery stick in
Yes.
there to garnish.
And have you seen now people do all kinds of crazy things? There's
Yes.
shrimp on bacon. I mean, there's all this stuff sticking
Like
out.
a whole skewer. Yes.
I guess
Yeah.
that's the way they can charge even more for it. I
Yeah.
don't know. But yeah, I guess I can see how you would throw that in as Southern.
Yeah. So, anyway.
We're taking credit for it, whether we should or not. Okay. Next up is a drink I have never tried. I used to occasionally drink a slow gin fizz.
Uh-huh.
This is called Ramos Gin Fizz.
Okay.
Based on the name Henry C. Ramos, who created this classic gin cocktail.
Okay.
It's from New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Shocking. Supposedly in 1888.
Okay.
So, the thing that is so funny about this cocktail is, in fact, I've almost wanted to jokingly go up to a bartender and order it just to see what their reaction is. Because apparently bartenders hated making this.
Oh, really?
Because it has to be shaken for 12 minutes.
No.
Now, that in 1888 probably was true. Now we have what's called a frother. And I would think they would have one close by if they're making this, because you got to froth egg whites and cream.
Oh, my goodness.
And there's no way to do that.
Yeah.
But shake it.
Yeah.
So apparently this was like a bartender's worst nightmare when
My
people
hand
ordered it.
Gets frozen to the shaker on a 30-second shake. I can't imagine
If you had to froth.
having to froth that long.
So this has egg whites and cream, which
Okay.
is so odd to me. But it's a gin based. It has simple syrup, lemon juice, some club soda.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to try it sometime,
Yeah.
just to see.
Yeah.
But I almost wanted to print out. Actually, I may have printed out a picture just to show you. Because in the glass, it's really pretty to me because it has that frothed,
Yes.
creamy
so
kind
pretty.
of look.
Yeah. Looks like a milkshake.
It looks kind of like a milkshake, except that it has a
Sort of because of the glass
citrus
that they are serving.
garnish.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to mention that because it was another one born out of New Orleans.
That's
and,
so fun.
Was quite popular in a lot of the different lists that I came across. So yeah.
Cool. Well, sticking in New Orleans, let's go down to Pat O'Brien's, where
Oh, girl.
the famous hurricane was birthed. So this cocktail became popular at Pat O'Brien's bar there in New Orleans in 1940s. And it's said that O'Brien created the heavily rummed drink as a means to get rid of a large stock of rum that his southern distributors forced him to buy.
Oh my gosh, we do what we have to do when we have excess.
And it does have a lot of rum in it. It's still super popular, and nothing says bachelorette party and Mardi Gras to me like a hurricane. It's even got its own glass, though.
It has
How
its
cool
own
is that?
glass. I mean, it's that popular.
So, yeah. What else would I say?
Well, I was thinking this is one that you actually could make as a mocktail as well. Some of these
Yes.
are so heavily, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of
They're
ingredients.
like 2
but,
ounces in a sugar cube.
right.
You can't change
Can't really do
much.
much
Yeah.
with that. But passion fruit juice and fresh lemon juice, I'm drinking that regardless of if you put alcohol in it.
Yeah.
Put it in a pretty glass and I'm happy as a lark. So
Yeah.
anyway, I thought that was worth mentioning.
Well, and it does have a lot of juice ingredients. So if you don't have passion fruit, orange juice, fresh lime juice, grenadine, simple syrup, if you don't have all of that, you can buy the Pat O'Brien's
Of course you can. Because he's an entrepreneur.
already mixed up hurricane mix. You can get that at patobriens.com. So it's sold at the bar too. But then all you need is your rum and a cherry. And you've got a hurricane.
Yes.
So
that's fun.
yeah,
So
definitely.
much came out of New Orleans. Like, we need to do a whole week of just eating and drinking
in New Orleans.
in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And then next up, Charleston.
Yes.
I mean, really.
Yes.
But one I don't even have on my list, I did look it up to see if it was Southern. But I've seen in New Orleans that French 75.
My favorite cocktail ever.
So good,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
So I thought, okay, I see that in New Orleans a lot. Is that Southern? It is not. It is French.
I thought you were going to tell me it's Southern. I was going to love it even more.
Named after a World War I artillery that was used.
Okay.
in France.
Okay.
So anyway, that's where the name came from. But it has the champagne in it, and it's
Yes.
pretty. And but there's a restaurant, Arnaud's restaurant, down in the old New Orleans restaurant. Their bar is called the French 75. So I thought maybe it was Southern, but it is not.
It's not. No.
Okay, another Southern goodie. Out of Harry's Bar in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is the Alabama Slammer.
Okay. I've never had one of those.
Okay, well,
I don't think.
If I'm remembering correctly, really fruity.
Okay.
Orange juicy.
Okay.
You know, so orange juice drinks are popular with college football because you tailgate sometimes early.
Yeah, that's so true. Games can start.
I don't know if that's why this one got popular
with
Alabama football, but it's Southern Comfort, slow gin, amaretto. So we're getting a lot of alcohol in here in our orange juice. And you garnish with cherry and orange.
Okay.
So anyway, that one is very popular at football tailgates in Alabama.
That's probably where it came about, was tailgating.
Yeah, and Harry's Bar claims that they came up with it in Tuscaloosa. So
I've never heard anyone dispute it.
And of course they're going to name it Alabama Slammer because, Alabama and their football. Which, by the way, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen in the SEC?
We might know at the time this comes out. Who knows?
Oh, true. We're recording a little early. Sorry. I'm not supposed to do that all the time. But okay.
Okay, finish out the list. What's number 10? Well, you know what? We're going to talk about it, but we're not.
Exactly. This is teaser for Christmas.
Okay.
The milk punch. I mean, people would probably listen to this and go, oh my gosh, they didn't even talk milk punch. Are they Southern? Well, we're going to go there. But I said, let's mention it, but wait and do a whole episode on like yummy holiday drinks.
Seems like fall and Christmas deserve their own sort of punch and seasonal drink.
Yeah. In fact, there was another punch that we mentioned on a prior episode that's pretty popular down from Savannah that's called Chatham Artillery Punch. Very old, like from the 1800s as well. So maybe we'll mention those on our holiday drinks.
I feel like South Carolina loves their punches. They just must have
They want to pull out those pretty bowls.
Yeah.
Do their entertaining. Maybe that's why. But this milk punch is kind of a Southern eggnog, if you will. Not quite as thick, but brandy based drink. So that'll be fun to talk about later.
That's so true.
When it gets
brandy
cold.
Does seem to surface a little bit
warms
more
you up.
Later in the season or later in the year. Yeah. Well, that's going to round out our list of Southern cocktails. Again,
Happy Derby to everyone.
Yes.
Make sure you tune in and watch. And I just
to commemorate the just wonderfulness of your drink that you made us today, I will post a picture on our Instagram.
Oh, please do.
And that way people can see how pretty it is. And just even how you can position your straw right into your mint to get that good flavor.
That's right. That was my own little tip for y'all.
Okay. Well, you got anything else?
I think that'll do it.
Okay. Well, peace be with you.
And also with y'all.